That is more like it, people. That is a lot better than what we saw against the Clippers. Now I understand defensively, not so great in this game, but the offense was rolling in this game. Raptors win 115-109 over the Phoenix Suns. And last time the Raptors beat the Suns, won the series against the Phoenix Suns in the season, I think it was like 2013 or 2014, something like that. It's been quite a while. We've had a lot of trouble with this team, but we found a way to win this game. I mean, it was a back and forth grind. It was more of like a shooting fest for the most part. But the Raptors prevail. And it's all because, the thing I really liked in this game was they used their JV, as in he's a thing. But Jonas Valanciunas was fantastic in this game and in back-to-back games. 20 points, 10 boards, I think he had 11 rebounds. 11 rebounds as well. And 7 of 12 shooting, 5 of 8 from the free throw line, and another 3 for JV. The reason why I love today, JV was red hot. They used him a lot early, and they were giving him the ball a ton early in the game, but he was working it, knocking down his shots, grabbing the rebounds. Defensively, could have done a little bit better job on Greg Monroe, but he was there offensively doing an unbelievable job. And I was thinking to myself, okay, he's hot. What is Coach Casey going to do with him in the second half? And we get to the fourth quarter, and I'm like, oh boy, JV's not out there. But with like 7 minutes to go in the quarter, he plays the entire rest of the fourth quarter, finishes up playing 30 minutes tonight. When a guy is hot, you play him. That's what they did tonight for JV. He got the job done, 20 points, 11 rebounds, ties Antonio Davis for second all-time in Raptors double-doubles. And let's just not talk about Chris Bosh because he's a mile and a half ahead. But second, congratulations to JV on that. And Serge Ibaka was fantastic. Now, we talked about in the last video how he was great in the first half. But then in the second half, as the whole team did, they looked lost. But today, from the moment the game started to the end of the game, Serge Ibaka was fantastic. First off, his first double-double of the season, 21 points, 13 rebounds, 8 of 11 shooting, 2 of 2 from the line, and 3 of 3 from 3. Serge Ibaka lately has been dynamite. You know why? He's trusting himself. He's getting the looks. He's getting the same looks as he was earlier on in the year, but this time, he's knocking them down. And it's his confidence is there. Let's go back to his last 6 games. You go back to December 1st against Indiana, 15 points, 8 boards. Against Phoenix at home, 19 points, 6 boards. In Memphis, 21 points. Sacramento, 20. The Clippers, 17. And then today, 21. Serge Ibaka has been fantastic. Let's quickly run through the percentages of those. Now against the Clippers, 41% shooting, 72% today, 61 against the Sacramento Kings, 58% against Memphis, 61 against Phoenix, and 60 against the Indiana Pacers. Serge Ibaka has been that big guy this is the best I think we've seen from Serge since that last trade deadline. I mean, he looked okay at times. There were times where, he looked real good, but then there were times he looked really bad. And the same to start this season. He really was ice cold from 3, missing a lot of shots. But lately, he's been great, getting his looks, knocking them down. And his teammates are trusting him, so they're just giving him the basketball. But, as much as I'm very, very proud of our big men in this game, JV and Serge, guys like DeMar DeRozan had a ridiculously good night, shooting 50%, 37 points. It felt like everything was going in for them, especially in that third quarter. DeMar DeRozan was just lighting up the Suns. They were making a push, but DeMar DeRozan was right there to answer every chance he got. Also added 7 rebounds and 4 dimes on the play. Now, Kyle Lowry, as of late, really hasn't done a whole lot offensively. I mean, he's been really struggling with himself, with his shot. And it kind of happened again today. Through the first half, he was like, I don't even know if he had a point through the first half. But he did have like 4 assists through the first half, so whatever. In the second half, he ends the game with 12 points and 6 assists. Kyle found his shot a little bit later on in the game. Maybe he can transition that into, the next game and then the next game, right? This is a much better performance. We get the win. That's all that matters, really. Now, the thing that's like a little bit iffy, the team only had 14 assists in this game, but you found ways to score overall. That's rare for the Raptors as of late. But the big key in this game, we talked about the Clippers game, about the turnovers being a mess and them just really not being able to take care of the basketball, especially late in the game. Today, the Raptors only had 6 turnovers. They were taking care of the basketball, making their passes, making them crisp. But the one guy that we can clearly see he's struggling really hard, not just with basketball, he's struggling with himself, and that's Norman Powell. You watch him out there, he's forcing everything. You look at the shots he's taking, they're tough shots, and he's just wanting one to go down, but those are not the type of shots you should be looking for. You got to be looking for the better shots. If that shot's not there for you, kick it to somebody else. Don't try and do too much. Don't try for the perfect pass. There were one pass to Serge Ibaka that he made. I think Serge ended up getting free throws out of that as well. It was a great pass. But then he went back to tough shots, and he's just really, really struggling right now. I don't know if he's still a little bit injured or what. But Norman Powell really hasn't done a whole lot lately, and it's his confidence. It's just not there right now. But one big problem, and this is something that's been a reoccurring theme of the past few games. Over the entire season, the bench has been fantastic. They've been moving the basketball well, they've been knocking down their shots, and they've been looking really solid. The last 3 games or so, I don't know what the stat is. I think it's the Raptors plus minus for their bench guys is like a minus 102 or something like that. That might even be in this game. I'm not too sure exactly. I heard that number somewhere in this game. But that's awful. You saw today the Phoenix Suns, their bench is what kept them in this game. Troy Daniels was ridiculous, 32 points in 32 minutes. He was a freak out there. But just the bench, you run through it real quick. Van Vliet with 5, Pirtle with 4, Miles with 5, Siakam with 4, and Norm didn't get a point. They just kind of look out of sorts offensively right now. But that's a young bench that's just gonna have to find ways to get out of that funk. Now the starters have really picked up the slack. We looked earlier in the year; it was the bench that was kind of carrying this team. The starters weren't playing all that great. Now it's the opposite. The bench isn't playing too great, but the starters are ripping it up right now. You look at them. Like I said, we'll go run through it one more time. Ibaka with 21, JV with 20, Lowry with 12, DeMar with 37. Those guys alone are unbelievable. But you can't rely on those guys all the time. You got to have some productivity off the bench. Guys like CJ Miles really got to be big because him and Norman Powell are our 2 spark plugs on that bench that have a little bit more experience than everybody else, and they got to do their thing. Now, CJ's been struggling a little bit lately. Again, so has Norm. The whole bench really has. They got to get it going again. If that's one thing we got to take away from this game, it's that. Good to get back in the win column nonetheless. Now, the Raptors have finished the road trip. They go 3-1. Yeah, the tough loss in LA, but you know what? You got to put it behind you. A 3-1 road trip, fine, whatever. Now you come home Friday night. You are at home taking on the Brooklyn Nets. 7:30 tip-off there. The Brooklyn Nets 11-15 on the season. Again, you got to keep rolling. You got to get on another win streak. Start feeling good again because this month is that month where you're supposed to take over because it's a weak schedule. And you won 1, great. You got that winning streak back to 1. You got to keep it going Friday against the Brooklyn Nets. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video and you guys enjoyed this game, hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below what you guys think of the game. What you guys think of JV in the 30 minutes in this game. I thought it was great because he was playing so well. Serge Ibaka, what have you thought of him as of late? DeMar was a freak tonight. Let me know what are your opinions on the bench. Maybe DeLon Wright is just, they're missing him just way too much. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, Leafs edition, as they're in Minnesota, taking on the Wild, 8 o'clock puck drop there. And then Friday, Raptors edition, like we said, Raptors, Nets, Air Canada Center, 7:30 tip-off. Let's get this 2-game win streak. Let's get a 2-game win streak going here, and we'll talk to you guys then.